Mariners looking to continue the roll. They've won yet another series on the road. They had that stretch of 9 series wins in a row, and we joked about some of the responses I saw on social media that I showed you. We got some on the text that, yeah, you beat the White Sox, but it wasn't pretty, Dave. It wasn't done in a fashion that instilled a lot of confidence in some fans out there.
Well, I mean, how do you feel about the performance against the San Diego Padres? I mean,
I liked it a whole bunch.
I mean, look, I think you have that kind of performance over a 3-day period where you give up 3 runs in 3 games on the road.
Yeah, you had 4 games in a row where you gave up, or was it 5 games? 4 games or 5 games in a row allowing 1 run?
Yeah, it was 5.
4 or 5, yeah. Because they lost yesterday, but still 1 run.
Yeah, 1 run. 5 games in a row, you allowed 1 run.
Well, and by the way, I mean, their biggest losing streak is 4 games. And I think somebody was saying that about how they've been able to step in and, like, fix, right the ship as far as some of these losing streaks that they get swept by Toronto at home, and then, they lose the first game of that Yankee series. So there's 4 in a row. And then you had, that series sweep with the San Francisco Giants, but they've just instantly turned things around. So, yeah, after sweeping the San Diego Padres, I'm not too worried about the performance in Chicago.
Yeah, I don't. Why does? I guess I would ask this question of those that sent. And anybody can text in 866-979-3776. If you're one of those that texted in going, yeah, but they only scored this many runs, and they did it against this garbage team, and look at this, outside of the Julio, they removed the Julio home runs, and they're saying, well, then they only scored this many runs. I'm like, we can't remove them because that's all part of the game. You got guys that worked their way on base in front of him, whether it was by a walk or by a hit. They found their way on base. They got driven in with a home run. Same with Tavares. Cal had a solo shot, but you had Leody Tavares out there with a 2-run shot that ultimately proved to be the game winner.
His first home run as a Mariner?
Yep.
Yep. Second for the season.
So somebody's working their way on base in front of them. They're it's not always going to be, hey, we're just chipping in every inning, another run. Why does this one weigh more? Right? You're looking at, well, the offense wasn't great in this series, but it was against the Padres, one of the best teams in all of Major League Baseball, one of the best home teams in all of Major League Baseball. On their home field, you average 5 runs a game. But we're going to dismiss that and focus on, but they only put up 1. They didn't score yesterday. They got shut out. And that means more. Why? Why does that mean more? Why are the struggles heavier? Why do they weigh more, I guess, in your perception of this team than when they go out there and put up 5 a game on a team like the Padres?
Well, the thing is, I mean, yeah, they had...
Why, Dave?
Why? Damn it. They did have a power outage on Tuesday.
Yeah, they got shut out. Right. It wasn't good.
But I don't know, it just seems like once they would do that, it would be like, okay, they're going, in years past, they're going on a losing streak here. They can't get it done offensively, and they come through. And again, I think the coolest stat out of that entire 3-game series was that Julio only got 2 hits, but he drove in 7 runs. So, yeah, I mean, and timely, Tellez has been that way this year. Certainly Cal. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get twisted over 1 loss to the Chicago White Sox. Yes, they're bad. You look at their offensive numbers, their slash line, it's like they're number 30, number 29, number 28. But you took care of business in those other 2 games and beat them like you should.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think it just speaks to the downtrodden Mariner fan, the one that's just afraid to embrace success when it's happening. Again, nobody's up here going, look, we're World Series bound. I'm telling you right now, World Series, here's your winner. Nobody's saying that. You're just enjoy when the success is happening. And right now, they're experiencing success. You've taken 5 of 6 on a 10-game road trip so far. You are in line to walk away from a 10-game road trip with a winning road trip, barring a 4-game sweep in Houston, which I don't see happening. Yeah, and Tavares, very cool to see him come up with his first Mariner home run, and it came in a very big situation.
Here's Leody Tavares. Corners are close. Let's see what Dan has in mind. Swinging a fly ball deep into the gap in right center field. Palacios going back, looking up. Goodbye, baseball. Leody Tavares with a 2-run home run into the lower deck in right center field.
You know, we were talking about how voices carry when there's like 12 people in the stands.
Right.
You hear every word. The other thing that's really cool about that, though, when it's just nobody in the park, is just the crack of the bat. Listen to that.
Here's Leody Tavares. Corners are close. Let's see what Dan has in mind. Swinging a fly ball.
It's just a shot. You just hear that echo. You got a full stadium that tends to get buried. So I love that sound.
Yeah, that and the cleats walking on the
on the cement.
on the cement, which remember Matt said, or we did, like something about walking on bubble.
Oh, he thought
wrap
people
or
were
something.
popping bubble wrap or
Yeah.
something like that.
And we had about 50 people texting, no, actually, that's the sound of steel cleats on the concrete. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can always count on our texters to clear
Yeah.
things up for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were searching. What is that noise? But I mean, look, home runs. This is a team that hits home runs, which is very cool. I mean, you need that. There are times where you're not going to be able to piece it together and play small ball and go station to station and, base hit after base hit after walk after base hit. Sometimes you're going to need somebody to come up there and mash.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice that you got guys that are doing it right now. And I'll take it. I don't think they rely on it. I don't think they're up there going, well, if we don't hit home runs, we're going to lose. Because they've shown they can win in other ways. They've shown they can grind and they can play small ball and they can be aggressive on the base paths. So, I'm not worried about, well, take out those two, like the one tax. Well, if you remove those home runs, then you didn't score this many. Well, you did, though. You scored runs. You can do it with base hits. You can do it with the home run. You can work a walk. You can get on base in a multiple different ways. And so how they do it, I'm not so concerned with. I like that they're doing it. I like that, he talked about Rowdy Tellez with a base hit before Tavares came up.
Right.
That's a big deal, for him to work that base hit. I think left fielder may have made an error on that play in the outfield, I think, leading up to that. Just turned a single into a double, essentially. But, yeah, I mean, whether it's a walk, a base hit, you're on base, and you're there to be driven in.
It seems like they've won in every kind of way. And then, like I was saying earlier, I mean, obviously you'd love to have your starting rotation, but, getting not only that, during this period of time, you have Andres Munoz doing what he's done, which is just remarkable. But, you've got a couple of guys like Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock to, kind of get their feet wet a little bit. And, both have had some rough outings, but you need to go through that. So, I don't know. I mean, I was saying, I think if they hadn't had these injuries, how many more wins? I don't know. I feel like it's going the way that it should. I said maybe another 2 wins, but I don't know, get them up to 30 wins or 31. But yeah, I'm okay with the way it has gone. I feel like that part of it, looking at the bright side, especially with the pitching, because we worry about that all the time. We're always talking about, oh my gosh, the injuries, that will be, just kill this team, and it just hasn't.